Good morning, boys and girls. So we are going to do your math lesson for today, which is 11.3. Okay, so you've already did graphs on tallies, right? You did tally graphs where you take your categories and you make your title based on your categories. And then depending on the number of students that voted on that category, you added a tally mark. And then you totaled your tally marks and you answered questions using this tally chart. Then you learned about picture graphs. Picture graphs are very similar to tally charts, only you're using pictures instead of tallies, right? And there's also another difference between your picture graph in that there's a key here. So there is a key right at the bottom here. You don't have that on a tally chart. And the key tells you what each picture is worth. Okay, what each picture is worth. So on this tally graph, each pencil is worth 2 students. So when you're counting your pencils, you're counting by twos. When you did your picture graph, each picture was worth 1 student. So a picture graph has pictures and it provides a key, and a tally graph has tallies. And there's no keys. There's no key with a tally graph because we know that each tally represents 1. All right, so today we're going to expand on that, and you're going to be making bar graphs now, boys and girls. So bar graphs are, again, similar to tally charts and picture graphs in that you have your categories and you have your title. But the difference is how you chart these categories. So these are 2 different kinds of bar graphs. This is a bar graph that goes across, right, horizontally. Yep, and you can see it's called a bar graph because it looks like a bar, right? It looks like a bar. This is a bar graph, very similar, only it's going up and down, right? So this is a vertical bar graph. This is a horizontal bar graph. You'll be doing both. Today in this lesson, I believe most of them are horizontal, but later on you're going to see both. So the same skills, you're doing the same skills, only you're making your bar graph. One will be vertical and one will be horizontal. And you can see when you make one horizontal, your categories are now at the bottom and your numbers are on the left. Where in your horizontal bar graph, your categories are on the left and all of your numbers are on the bottom. So right now, we're going to focus on this one. We're going to do a horizontal bar graph. Okay, so I have one ready to go for us down here, our bar graph, and I decided to do this on pets. So because I don't have all of you in front of me, which I miss so much, I decided to do this with my family, and I asked them some questions about pets and what their favorite pets were. And then I collected some of the data and I put the data right down here. So I'm going to use this data to fill in my bar graph. So I already have the bar graph set up. At the top here, you always want to leave a space for your title, right? If we don't know if there's no title on our graphs, we're not going to really understand what the graph is about. So this one is about favorite pets. So I'm going to write this in here, okay? I'm going to write favorite pets. I'm going to capitalize it because we know it is a title. All right, so let me set all of that up. We're going to put it here. I want to make it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to make it 18, and then I'm going to center. Okay, so favorite pets here, boys and girls. Let's slide that up a little bit, if it lets me. No, it's not going to let me. Okay, favorite pets. So we did 3 different categories, all right? We did dogs. We did cats. And we did, of course, my niece has a fish, so she wanted to do fish. Okay, there are 3 different categories. All right, now I'm going to go down here and I can see that I have 5 dogs. 5 dogs, right? So I need to go back up here. So because the most that we did were 5, I know that I have to make at least 5 areas to color in for my bar graphs. All right. That's how we kind of determine how big we're going to make our bar graph. If I had 8 as my highest, I would have to have 8 spaces here. But 5 is my highest number. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I know I don't have to go any further because I only have 5 as my most voted pet. So on here, we're going to put our numbers in. So this will be 1. This will be 2. This will be 3 and 4 and 5. Oh, you know what I did? I forgot. And I love when I make mistakes because it just teaches us a little bit more. We want to start with 0. We always want to start with 0 because maybe no one voted for one of these animals. And you are going to have that when you go and do a tally chart on your own and you have to get the votes around your family for what your categories are. You might have one category that no one votes for. So that's really important that we add our 0 in. So let's add a 0 there. And then we'll go and we'll count up. Okay. So now I'll put 3, I'll put 4, and I'll put 5. And you can see I want to line my numbers up. All right, let's just go back so that I don't. 1. I love that back button. See that right here? You can always go back, boys and girls. So I want to line my numbers up with my lines. So as you can see, I have my 0 here, my 1. I tried to line them all up with these lines because when you're making your own graph, there are certain guidelines, and that's in order to organize your information. And this is one of the guidelines with a bar graph, right? You want to try to put those numbers on those lines so it's a little bit organized and it's easier to read. Okay, so I have that ready to go. So I'm going to go down here and I see that when I took my votes for my family, my dogs got 5 votes. So I'm going to go up here and I am going to fill in each one. So let's see if I can just do my fill here for each one. So I'm going to fill this one in blue. Okay, now I have 5, so I have to do them all. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have to fill them all in, right? Okay, 5. So I'll do that one in blue because I want to do different colors so that it's visually easy for us to see how many we had in each category. So I'm going to go back down to cats. Cats, we have 3. All right, so I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to fill it again. And I am going to fill this time with an orange. Okay, so there we go. There's our orange. And then my last one were fish. So my fish are 2. So 1, 2. And let's do this one a bright red. Okay. There we go, boys and girls. So we can clearly see how many we have of each now because it's lined up, right? So here's our line. So we know we have 5 dogs, we have 3 cats, and we have 2 fish. All right, excellent. So I'm going to take these now and I want to center them, and I'm going to just make those categories a little bigger for us now. There we go. Now that we have it all done. All right, boys and girls, so this is our bar graph. This is how you make a bar graph, okay? Now, I could add a little key here. So let's see. Let me go up and... Nope, you know what? I don't need to add a key because you can clearly see here that each one is worth 1. Don't have to add a key. All right, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to answer some questions now. All right. So I left these blank because at the time I was going to see which categories I was going to do. So how many? So I'm going to do dogs. Okay, sure. Let's do some dogs. All right. How many liked the dogs? All right, so I'm going to go back up here. Here are my dogs. I'm going to slide across and go down to my number. All right, 5, right? So I know 5 like our dogs, not 56, but 5. All right, excellent. Let's answer this question. What is the total number of votes? Okay, so the total number of votes, boys and girls, that means we have to count up all of our votes to see how many people voted on this graph. So I can do it 2 different ways. I can take 5 plus 3 plus 2, and I can add them all up, right? So 5 plus 3 is 8, right? And 8 plus 2 is 10. Yeah. Or I could go up here and I could just count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So how many people, the total number of people voted? 10. Okay. Excellent. All right. Let's go down here. How many more? Oh, I love this one. Yes. So how many more voted for cats than, let's do fish? Okay. So how many more voted for cats than fish? Well, let's go up here. We know that there were 3 that voted for cats, right? And we know that there were 2 that voted for fish. So when we're doing how many mores or how many less, we know we have to subtract. So we're going to take 2 away from 3. So 3 minus 2. So we are going to take our 3 and we have to subtract our 2. So 3 minus 2 equals 1, right? But you could also go up here, boys and girls, and see who doesn't have a partner. So there's a partner there, there's a partner there, but this one doesn't have a partner. So we know that there was 1 more cat than there were fish. Okay, so our answer is 1. All righty. So let's go down here. What pet or which pet was the favorite? So we're going to go back up again. We have dogs, we have cats, and we have fish. And we can clearly see that the dogs were the favorite, right? So we would just write here, dogs. All righty, boys and girls. So here's your bar graph. Your bar graph is on favorite pets. Your categories are dog, cats, and fish. And we just filled out all of our categories with the data that Mrs. Garvey collected, and we answered all of our questions. So this is a bar graph, right? And so we can see that the differences between our picture graph and our tally chart are that the shapes are different, right? This is shaped like a bar. These are all bars. Okay. All right, boys and girls, let's go into our math. So today, boys and girls, I'm just going to go over this worksheet for it because I know that you have these worksheets at home. Once we get into chapter 12, it'll be a little different. So here is your first page. And on here, should probably go into, let's go into your book, boys and girls, so that we don't see all Mrs. Garvey's answers. Let's go into your ebook. Of course, this is going to look a little different for you when you go into it, so you can just follow with your worksheet right now, all right? Let's see. All right, Mrs. Garvey's got a lot going on this morning, as you can see on my tabs up there, because I've been in and out of different things working very hard. All right, let's see. So while I'm getting this, if you don't have yours already, get your math. Put your math in front of you so that we can go over this. I'm going to just quickly go over the pages with you so you can do it on your own. All right, come on, Betsy. We can do this. We can do this. We have lots of little kids. Okay, Betsy, thank you. All right, so I'm going to move on because we are past our picture graph. Yes, we are. We are moving. There we are. So there's your first page. So what or how are graphs similar? How are they different? So they're showing you the two graphs, right, boys and girls? This is one I just did for you, only this is a different title. This is favorite fruit, and the categories are on your left side. And here is your bar graph showing the data that they collected from each student, right? We don't need a key for our bar graphs because we've numbered each one, and you can clearly see that each bar is worth one student. Where when you're using a picture graph, there is a key. Why do you think there's a key? Right? So if we were in class, we would discuss this. Well, they don't have the numbers on the bottom here. So you need to know what each one represents. Right now, we're doing each one is worth one student. But as you get into the upper grades, each one may be worth more students, and that's when you'll do your skip counting. So the differences, categories are the same, title is the same, but the differences are how they are using the data, how they're representing the data, the symbols that they're using. So here they used pictures because it's a picture graph, and here they used bars because this is a bar graph, right? Here they have a key, and here they have numbers. So they are the differences between them. All right, let's turn that page. And your next page now, you're going to be applying the information that Mrs. Garvey did with you on that example bar graph. And I believe all of the bar graphs are going to be made for you. So you are going to be answering questions about it. Really, hopefully later in the week, I'll have you make one. So they give you, the first one is your example here, and they show you this is a bar graph. Again, your categories are lion, giraffe, and elephant. And your title is favorite zoo animals. So they collected data, the people at the zoo, on what their favorite zoo animals are. You can see that each bar is worth one, and they went all the way up to 8. Okay, they went up to 8. It looks like their highest was 7, but they did an extra one just in case, which is what I do when I use bar graphs for my colleagues when I'm making them. I always make an extra one too. Okay, so you're answering questions. It says, how many students chose elephants? Okay, so we have to go back up to our bar graph, find elephants, and then we can either count over or we can go right to where it ends and look at the number, 5. So again, their numbers are right on the line, so it's easy to see. So there's your number 5. Which animal is the most favorite? Okay, so let's go back up. We're going to look for the bar that's the longest, right? That's the longest. We can clearly see as it lines up. 7, and that would be lion. So we circled the lion. So here's one that you're going to do on your own. This one is about favorite objects to collect. You're going to read these questions, and you will be answering using your bar graph. Over here for number 2, they give you one on favorite activities. Now this one is your vertical bar graph. Vertical. Same thing. It's a bar graph, but they've now switched it. So now your numbers go on the left side and your categories go on the bottom, just like I showed you in the beginning of this lesson. You can do them either way, boys and girls, and you'll be answering your questions over here. Number 3, order the activities in exercise 2. That means number 2, from the most favorite to the least favorite. So there are 3 categories, and you will be listing them from the most to the least. Make sure that you read that, most to least. Don't let them trick you, my firsties. Don't let them do that. All right, now you're going to take what you've learned and you're going to apply it. They're giving you 2 bar graphs. One is your favorite community helpers. Here are your categories: firefighters, police officers, and doctors. And then for this one, they're giving you your favorite outside toy. And here are your categories: bike, kite, and baseball. So the questions are very similar, but you're doing greater than, less than, and equal to. Yes, you're going to have to go back into your schema, and you're going to have to open up that filing cabinet where we learned about greater than, less than, and equal to. And I know that once you think about it, that's going to come back to you and you're going to understand that. So then you're going to answer these 2 questions as well. Now you can go into your big math ideas. You can do some of the activities that are in there. Okay. Or you can go on your choice board that I'm going to tell you about this morning, and you can do some of the activities in your math choice board. Okay, boys and girls, any problems? I'm on the other side of the computer. just send me a little note and I will contact you and help you out. Thanks, boys and girls.